Hey guys, so welcome to this video tutorial, and today we are going to cover a very basic topic, and this topic is common in every programming language, I believe. If not all, at least most of the programming languages will have this functionality, and it is called switch case statement. So if you are new to programming, these are the this is one of the basic functionalities of a programming language you should learn. So if you know what is if else, this is very similar to that. This is just a different way of writing the code and achieve the same thing which you can achieve in if else. So let's see what's the syntax of switch case in C sharp and how you can use it and what's the benefit of using it or in which cases you should use it. So let's write a simple program, and um, let's say we are going to write a program we will be where we will be getting the country code of country code from when you are given a country name. So for example, we have a country name, and keep it blank for now. So this is a variable, and we will be passing this country name to a method which will return the country code, and in that method we will be using switch case. So for example, let's just create another class here. So public class, maybe just give a name phone number, create a method public int country code. This will take a string and maybe name. Here we will be writing the switch case statement, and to the switch case statement basically takes one argument, and that's normally the value or the condition you are going to check. So and then in the switch body you will have different cases, and depending on different case you will return or do some operation. You might return some value, you might assign the any you might assign a value to a variable, or so you can do a lot of stuff over there. So in this case what we are going to do is let's take a variable here which will hold the country code. So country code, and definitely this is we want this to be an integer, so we can write int or var, doesn't matter for now, at least for this program. And let's just give a value of -1, which we just to make sure that this is the default value and this doesn't have any I don't know whether I don't think there is any country which has a country code of -1. So just to be safe that we have the default value is -1. And for the switch case statement, what we need to do is we have to use this keyword called switch, and here in this parenthesis you will pass this country name, and then here we will write the case. So because this is a string, let's say the first country, maybe it's Bangladesh, where I'm originally from, and we will assign the country code 880, which is the country code of Bangladesh. And then you put a keyword called break. If you're not familiar with what is break, this is a keyword that is reserved keyword by C sharp, and this normally breaks the flow. I will try to upload another video where I will explain more about these things. So let's try to focus on switch case at this moment. So I have copied this case, and then maybe we can change it to Malaysia. And for Malaysia, the country code is 60, and maybe we can have another one, say Netherlands. And the country code of Netherlands is 31. And we have another part of this switch case statement, that is default. And default is a case where none of these cases will match, so the default will run on that time. Why do we need a default? Because, for example, if none of these cases matches, then you want to know that, right? You want to do something with that. So default is the one where when nothing happens, this will at least get executed. So for in this case, let's throw an exception here, so at least we know what's that there was no country given, that we have a country code in our system. So let's say here country provided is not supported. Looking good. Then we will return this country code. This is the switch case statement, and few other things I want to mention. That is, if you don't put this break, right, then the program won't work properly in a way. What will happen is, if if it runs this part of the case, the country code will be this, but then the program flow won't break. It will still continue to the next thing, the next cases, right? Why is this an error? What is it saying? Control cannot fall through from one case level to another. Okay, because we didn't give a break. So actually the compiler is not allowing us to do it. That's a good thing. Okay, where's my semicolon? Should be over here. Now let's try to run this. So let's create an object of this phone number. Okay. A variable where we will get the country code, and this will call that method country code, and let's pass this country name, the variable we have at the top. Finally, we will just console write line the value. So here, let's say like this. So let's say rename country code of the country code. So let's put one country over here. So let's put Bangladesh at first, and let's try to run this program. I hope it will work. Build is successful, and okay, awesome. We can see here. Is it possible to zoom? I'm not sure. Uh, it. The country code of the country Bangladesh is 880. And so if you try to understand the flow, we have a switch case statement. Here we are saying that whatever country you pass, depending, we will try to match with the case. And when the case matches, we will return this value. So for example, then in a case where the country name is Malaysia, if we execute it, then the country code of the country Malaysia is 60. So you see, this is what you can do. You can have these conditions in a switch case statement, and depending on what is the value that is passed in the switch case, in the switch statement as an argument, uh, it will determine which case to run, and then what should be returned or what should be executed. So yes, this is a very basic programming language feature, but this is very important. So now there could be a question that why you want to use if why would you want to use a switch case instead of an if else? You can achieve the same thing using if else, but switch case is if you have a scenario where your conditions are very less, one or two or maybe three or something, then if else could work. But in cases where you might have a lot of conditions, and depending on these conditions, you want to execute something, or you want to have some you want to choose a particular value, then switch case is much easier to read, as well as it's much easier to write. So for example, just for a hypothetical reason, let's say we want to do something like that if it is USA, or we have another case like if it is Canada. I think the country code is 1, if I'm not mistaken. Do a quick search maybe. So Canada is +1. United States is +1 as well. So yes. So in this case, you see, you have two cases, USA and Canada, and then for these two, you want to return country code 1. And if suppose it was an if else statement, you have to write something like if country equals USA or equals Canada, then return that. So imagine if you have 10 or 15 or something more conditions to check, even if you do it this way, right, it's much easier to read. But in if else, it would be very hard, or it doesn't look very good. Yeah. So this is what switch case statement is, and in a future video I'm going to show you a new implementation of similar thing, which is called switch expression, that was introduced most probably in C#8, and that's a new way of writing switch statement. Or but it's not actually a statement, but that's a switch expression. That's a different thing. But yeah, can do similar. The functionality is basically similar. So that's all for this time, and see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.